Let's check in with Joseph Lindsley in Ukraine.
And so the soldiers said, we really recommend you take off your protective gear, your helmets and your bulletproof vest. So ironically, they had to make themselves less protected in order to be protected, on the chance that the Russians would use that as an excuse to say, hey, we thought you were soldiers, so we shot you.
Joe. Little Joe Lindsley.
Joe Lindsley is quickly becoming an American treasure in broadcasting.
Welcome to Ukraine Bank.
Joe, a lot of concern in the last day or so about that nuclear power plant, the Zaporizhia plant. A Ukrainian drone was shot down by the Russians over the plant. What is the latest on that? What are you hearing there?
Well, Bob, hello from Kharkiv, where just about 10 minutes ago, the city was hit by Russian bombs. Yet I'm reporting to you on the streets, on the sidewalk here at a coffee shop. And regarding the nuclear plant, that is the largest nuclear plant in Europe. The Russians have occupied it since very early in this full-scale invasion. And, they knew by occupying it, it's a very powerful card they hold to keep Europe afraid. And Ukrainians really, they can't easily take back that territory around the plant because they can't hit back. And so this is, there really have been no Ukrainian strikes on that plant for these 2 years. The Russians have tried to pretend that Ukrainians have hit that territory. So we still have murky details about it, but I do find it hard to believe that Ukrainians would do anything that would actually, would endanger the Ukrainian citizens still living in freedom just across the water from that plant, like in that city of Nikopol. And by the way, it's another important thing to remember, that used to be a massive reservoir on the Dnieper River where the nuclear plant is, and it still looks like a desert because of what the Russians did to the Novokakhovka Dam in June. So just a reminder of that, how deep that disaster is. Now, right now I speak to you, later you can look at the video at UkrainianFreedomNews.com. I'm sitting in the back of an old Soviet hatchback, which this coffee shop called Makers has repurposed as an outdoor dining area. And here I am, the whole city shook with at least 2, maybe 3 explosions. You might even hear some emergency vehicles go by to the scene of whatever happened. So I don't quite know what happened. But even as the bombs fell on the city, traffic continues. People continue walking, laughing, joking, smiling. You see some people moving fast, maybe to try to get inside, but no one running. And it's really a remarkable sense of, Kharkiv life and how these people, live through this. And about a couple hours ago, I was speaking with a Ukrainian artist who described the spirit of this city in this way. He said, "We are keeping the buildings and the whole city alive by our very presence. The people are the soul of the city. And so it's very important," he says, that, simply to be here, even if you're not doing anything major, simply to be in the city is a step toward victory. And this cafe from which I'm speaking to you, Makers, is it's really a great place of connectivity, and people gather here after missile attacks. They gather here to share ideas. It's home to sort of the creative people of the city. And I was talking with the owner, Dima, yesterday. And so they have several locations here in Kharkiv city, and they're opening a new location. This is extraordinary, in the city of Izum, basically a frontline city that is shelled by the Russians day and night. I was there a few days ago. There was no water, no power, and I was looking for good coffee. And I texted a friend. He said, well, in 3 weeks, there will be good coffee there because Makers is opening a new branch toward the front line in Izum. This is a remarkable spirit of entrepreneurship. So often we hear, people talk about the rebuilding of Ukraine. Well, the rebuilding is happening every day here, and in this very dynamic way. I really try to picture that, like opening a new branch of your business in one of the most dangerous places in Ukraine, as a sign of defiance, but also to make sure that the people who are there, who are working for victory, can get good coffee. And so even here, as I sit here, right now I have some tea. I had a lot of coffee today. Excellent, food and drink here, while at any moment the bombs could once again fall.
I can't wait to see the video of your report today, and we'll put that link on our website too, to UkrainianFreedomNews.com. Just go to WGNRadio.com for that. Well, Joe, as Congress today takes up the question of Ukraine aid, a lot of people weighing in with comments here. Let me just give you one pro and one con here from the listeners. Let's see here. I'm so sorry, but I get tired of hearing this guy in Ukraine. Ukraine isn't going to win. It's time for peace talks and a settlement. And this one, Joseph is absolutely correct. Putin invades Ukraine and daily bombards power plants, dams, homes, and hospitals, but the U.S. tells Ukraine you must not target the aggressor's oil. And there you go. People are debating today, aren't they?
Yeah, that sums up, I think, some sides of this debate. But to those who think Ukraine can't win, I'd say come to Kharkiv or watch videos from Kharkiv because you see the spirit. These people are not going away. And a quick anecdote, I was talking a couple days ago with, there's a couple from Kyiv, and they own a bicycle repair shop in Kyiv. And they come here to Kharkiv once every 2 weeks. So they're, Kyiv's a pretty safe place, but they still come to Kharkiv once every 2 weeks and to go to the front line, to help people evacuate, to deliver medicine, and just, to do extraordinary things. And over the weekend, Sasha, the guy was in a very dangerous place leading the convoy of medical vehicles. And they get to the checkpoint and the soldiers said, you have been watched, you're being watched by a Russian surveillance drone. Just imagine that. And so the soldiers said, we really recommend you take off your protective gear, your helmets and your bulletproof vest. So ironically, they had to make themselves less protected in order to be protected on the chance that the Russians would use that as an excuse to say, hey, we thought you were soldiers, so we shot you. And my friend Sasha described the next 2 hours, they refused to abandon the mission. And they continued to, bring people medicine and help people in this village. And the entire time, they could look up in the sky and see this dot far above them, the Russian, like the eye of Sauron, the Russian surveillance drone watching them. And just imagine, how your heart would be racing in such a situation. And Sasha, who's a great cyclist, has repaired bikes on the Tour de France. And he said he had to draw upon every bit of his athletic training and sort of ability to meditate, to stay calm and cool so that the team could complete this mission. And when you hear stories like that, like people who live in comfort in Kyiv, who put themselves at the edge every day to help, you see that these are not people who are giving up.
No, it doesn't sound like it. Joseph Lindsley in Ukraine, be safe. Maybe you better crawl under that car or go in the trunk for a while today.
Or drive away.
Yeah, see if you can start
I'll stay
it up.
here with everyone else.
We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks a lot, Joe.
Until tomorrow. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you for introducing Ukraine on your social media pages. That's very important that much more people can get more information about the situation here and how everybody can help Ukraine to stay stronger and to save all the world.
Что он сказал?
Well, which side are you on?
На чьей ты стороне?
Come on now. Oh, which side are you on?
На чьей ты стороне?